Hi, and welcome to today's event where we have the pleasure to present Valuer. To joining us from the company to help us through the presentation, we have Chairman of the Board, Susanne Larsen, CEO, Dennis Paulsen, and CFO, Morten Heller. So the full team built up. Today's topic is the presentation of the half-year 2021-22 report, the results, also the adjusted guidance, but of course also a little bit look into the development on the customer side and a look on the internationalization. So that is the topic for today. But I think for now I will hand it over to you, Susanne, to start the presentation.
Thank you very much, Michael, and also thank you to all of you who are joining us today. I recognize that I might be a new face for some of you. My name is Susanne Larsen. I joined the board of Valuer back in May 2021, and as of November, I'm the chairman. But we are not here to talk about me today. We are here to talk about Valuer and the half-year results from July to December 2021. Mikael already sort of touched upon the agenda, but just to mention it again, we are going to go into the equity story. We have some business highlights we want to share with you, some words around the guidance, the financial highlights before we talk about the growth strategy of Valuer, and then we wrap up with the Q&A session. Needless to say, it is disappointing that our financial results aren't what we had expected them to be. We had underestimated how long it would take to implement our distribution channel. That being said, and on a much more positive note, I'm absolutely pleased with the work that has gone into making our product much better. It is stronger, it's better, and more relevant and available to a much broader audience. But we will go into that in more detail. We have a global bond platform, and I'm fascinated by how many issues we actually can help our customers with, locally, but across the world. One of the first things I actually highlighted when I joined the board of Valuer was that we need to be better at making it very clear to customers and potential customers what we can do for them. And on that note, I shall hand over to Dennis, who will talk about the equity story.
Thank you so much, Susanne. And equally, it's important for us as a company to articulate our equity story towards our investors. That is paramount as it is with our customers. So if you look at the Valuer platform, we are pioneering the global market for innovation and investments. And you can look at our platform as the new generation of business intelligence tools, just with a new flavor that Valuer commits to the table here, which is AI and a highly data-driven methodology. And we deploy this methodology and technology to allow for our users and our customers to scan through millions of data points to enable them to make better business decisions faster and much more efficiently. And also with the help of AI, with a lot more precision. We are currently focused on global expansion, where we want to create value for our investors as well as for our customers. And we have been successful thus far, attracting customers from the North America, Asia, and Europe. We are working on a two-pronged strategy, where we on the one side is constantly working on adding new services to the platform to aid our customers in their work with innovation, as well as expanding the platform internationally, which is our growth strategy. We tap into three major trends that are currently ongoing in the market: artificial intelligence, the innovation economy, as well as the platform economy. You can read our equity story on our investor site, and you will also have access to a video where we talk more deeply about the vision of the company. That takes us directly into the business highlights for first half of 21-22, where we have realized 100% growth in revenue, increasing revenue from 800,000 as of last period, the same period last year, to 1.6 million DKK first half this year. However, we have also seen our annual recurring revenue decrease to 4 million, which is a result of an expanded product mix on the platform, as well as churn among some of the larger tiers customers on the platform. We have added 9 customers. We now have 16 customers in total, so that's quite an expansion of our customer base. Those customers are primarily, as you can see in the graph in the lower right corner, international customers. So our customer mix is predominantly international. We've increased engagement with the platform with additional subscriptions launched in September, as we also communicated when we released our year report. And that allows us to engage with a much broader spectrum of potential clients, as Susanne was also talking about in her intro. We are obsessing about our customers, as well as introducing new product features that fits with their use cases. Our customers' use cases within innovation are naturally always changing, and as such, we need to keep up with that as a product, as a platform, and we are on top of that. We have been spending most of our time and our energy on executing the international growth strategy, where our objective is to enter new markets and add new customers, in particular international customers. We are looking into a revised ARR guidance for the full year of 21-22, and I'd like to invite Morten to go over that.
Thank you, Dennis. You can just flip to the next page. All right. Yeah, as Dennis just said, we are reducing our ARR guidance to a level between 6 to 8 million for the full year 2021-22 from this 15-17 that we announced in connection with the release of the annual report back in September of last year. Some of the main key drivers for the initial guides were based on an anticipation for much stronger second half of the year versus the first half of the year, where we, in the first half of the year, released our new subscription model in Q1, and we also signed a couple of new distribution agreements that was announced. And finally, we did also expect that we would add more distribution partners to our program. As both Susanne and Dennis have been alerting to, we have experienced some delays in the development of the partnership channels, and we have also seen a slower uptake in the new subscription models that we launched back in September. And finally, as Dennis also mentioned, that we had a couple of churns within our larger tier customer end of the year. All that being said, we still believe in growth this year. We still believe a stronger second half than what we have seen in the first half of the year. This is both in terms of the ARR growth, but also revenue-wise. We have seen both in December and January that new customer contracts are coming through our sales channels. And we do also see now that the lead generation in our pipeline is growing, as well as the conversion from the free sign-up to paid subscription are being initiated. So on and all, we do see a positive development in our ARR growth, but the coming period, but not in the level that we initially expected back in September. We just turn to the financial highlights then. All right. So next slide, for the profit and loss, as we said earlier, our revenue ended up at 1.6 million versus 800,000 last period. We had an EBITDA of minus 16.6, which predominantly driven by the more FTEs that we onboarded subsequent to IPO back in February of last year. And that is the main driver with all the activities that arrive from them across all teams and projects that is driving the cost base. It should also be mentioned that within the staff cost, we also recognize roughly 1 million in the warrant program, though that doesn't have any cash flow impact as such. And if we can just turn to the balance sheet. At the balance sheet, half year through, our total asset makes up 63 million, which predominantly is made up by our cash position of 53 million, and then our value capitalized platform. Our equity made up 59 million with a working capital of minus 1.5 million. If we look at the cash burn, our monthly average operation cash burn in the period since the IPO in February has been 2.9 million. That if we exclude the IPO cost, the bank draft facility, a couple of one-offs, and increased utility deposits. The 2.9 million in cash burn on a monthly basis is very close to our IPO budget. And as we also mentioned previously in connection with the annual report in September, we will not increase our cost significantly. And we just need to reiterate that that will still be the case. We will not increase our cost base unnecessarily. And we do at the same time expect that our revenue will grow from this point onwards.
Thank you, Morten. And from the financial statements, we continue into our growth strategy. We are extremely focused on Valia's platform as the main foundation for our growth creation. We have communicated 3 sales channels, as you can see in the left side of this model. Product-led is stemming from our platform, is the ability to drive customers, new users, new customers through your product, where the product is capable of leading a lot of the conversion and a lot of the acquisition on its own. So we are very focused on that as part of our growth strategy, and we see customers coming in through that channel. And the platform is acting as a foundation for our 2 other sales channels, which is direct sales on one hand, where our sales organization, as you may know, which is consisting of our sales team in Copenhagen, as well as a few smaller setups in London and Singapore. It's all about driving new customer dialogues, upsell to existing customers, as well as supporting and onboarding new customers that are coming in on the platform. So that's the focus of our direct sales. We are not planning on building a big sales organization globally, but to follow the strategy that we've already laid out. The third and final sales channel, as we have already touched upon in this presentation, is our distribution channel that have caused us some challenges up until now that we are working hard on bringing or mitigating, if you will. We have recently onboarded a reseller and affiliate partner called PartnerStack, who has integrated directly with the Valia platform, whereby we get access to their large B2B buyer marketplace. So we are looking forward to see how much customer traffic that can bring to us. This is in the early phase of that part of the strategy. And besides that, we have already communicated U2P, a Malaysian consultancy, the consultancy arm of Petronas, which is also a customer on Valia's platform. And we've also communicated Capgemini, that we're also working with to produce new customers through through that channel. A couple of other customer names to make it even more concrete I'd like to mention is Cisco. As you may very well know, a large US-based technology company that have acquired access to our platform for their innovation team. So we're very happy about that. We've also, as part of the half-year report, communicated Port of Singapore, which is the largest international port in the world, whom are also integrating the value platform into their innovation flow. So those two accounts represent two very big opportunities for us for our direct sales channel, where, as I said before, we need to focus on upselling and onboarding and engaging and getting more users on. So that's very important for us there. If we just go back very briefly and talk about our platform and the product-led strategy, we are seeing a high traffic coming to our website, which comes in handy, of course, when you want to convert users. However, we're also seeing right now a challenge with converting the number and the percentage of users that we would like to paying customers. So we are very focused on that part of our sales strategy to increase our conversion there. And as you can see in the lower bottom of the model, we have our 6 customer segments represented there. So this sums up our growth strategy, and we are entirely focused on the international market and getting more growth in Europe, in Asia, as well as in North America. And this concludes our presentation, and we can open up for Q&A.
Perfect. Yeah, some of the first question was, besides your guidance and expectation for how fast it can go has changed, has anything in your business model changed since you went on the IPO? Or is it still the same general targets you're going for, but just with a little bit delay, or focus some more specific other areas than maybe you thought at the IPO? If you can elaborate a little bit on those subjects.
Absolutely, and of course this business model is rather broad, but from a go-to-market perspective, we have pushed up earlier the international expansion, so we are spending more time on getting out and acquiring international customers. So that part has changed since the IPO document. Another part which has been a natural evolution of our business model is the diversity that we are now introducing on the platform in terms of an additional number of subscriptions that we are offering to our customers. And we have introduced those new subscriptions, as we have spoken about earlier, to be able to follow up with the needs of our customers in our customer segments. And we have just learned over the course of the last 12 months that there's a variety of use cases that we can benefit from tapping into. So we have opened up the platform to support more use cases, so that part has changed as well. And as part of this platform focus, I would say that the product-led focus is also naturally coming as an ingredient in our business model, but that doesn't really affect the customers as such from a business model perspective. It just offers them more variety in the way that they can buy in on the platform.
And maybe we can dig into that, but also there's a question here: what is the average ARR coming in on new customers? You went from a very tier one, high-paying, full implemented in your platform to maybe a more customizable model. So can you elaborate a little bit on the new ARR and the new customers?
Yeah, sure. So as Stanisla said, the number of different subscriptions that we introduce prevail, of course, different ARR depending on what type of subscription you're buying into. So everything from the single users, we're talking 45,000 DKK, all the way up to 500,000, 600,000 when you're talking, the custom subscriptions. So really it does depend how many users each client wants to add to it. But if you look in average, we're right now looking at the new ones around 285,000 mark averaging. But of course we have those that are higher, but you also have these single users that only provides like 45,000 in annual recurring revenue. We do also focus on doing upsell for existing customers, because especially when they start on the single user level, they start to use the platform, they're getting further interest into it. It's a much cheaper acquisition cost to upsell versus trying to get new customers on board. So that is also one of the roles that we are pursuing in that.
So is that maybe one of the changes if you look at the business model, the upselling part? Maybe before you had a little bit of plan of really going deep into a company, and now it's more you experience new use cases, new ways of using the system and upselling that. Is it use case or is it a number on the system? If you understand.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of both, and we're also actually seeing a push from some of our new clients actually want to get more people on board. So it's a quite exciting arena we are working within right now to explore all different ways of trying to increase our average ARR through our customer base.
And maybe just to try and understand it, because you were very, you haven't only, but you were very focused on the innovation department. But do you have some way of upselling in the future where you push it out to the purchase department, is that a way of thinking the business model where you start with one organization type and then try to push out the platform use cases to other parts? Is that something you have experienced or something you're thinking into your selling?
No, that's definitely one of our focuses when you look at the larger enterprises, because they typically have several departments that would have a need for a platform like Value. So we tend to look at it as coming into the innovation department as a sort of a beachhead in a larger enterprise, and then using that foundation to jump to some of the other departments within the company. Like we have mentioned already, the patent, so the IP and research side of organizations with regards to patents, as well as the M&A or corporate venture sides of large enterprises.
And maybe the next question here regards a little bit to that. The new customers you have gotten in, is that primarily in the M&A side, the investing side, and in the innovation side? Or are you also seeing any customers coming in on the procurement side, the special purchase, or the IP side where you are checking the patents for companies? Can you elaborate a little bit about those clients you have gotten in which areas they predominantly have been coming in the last half year?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I would say the major bulk of the new customers are still innovation. So what we are seeing now, which we haven't seen prior, is that we also get VC customers coming in. So that's an interesting development that venture firms are starting to look at Value as a platform for sourcing early stage companies. We have seen more activity around the patent side through more engagement with a client like Petras, as an example. And we've received quite a lot of customer feedback that the ability to add patents into the mix when you look at innovation in general is valuable. So that's an avenue that we're also exploring. We haven't been we are still to see procurement as a use case on the platform, although we are targeting that with a specific focus on sustainability. So we're communicating a lot about sustainability and the way you can tap into sustainability through the value platform. So we believe we're looking at a more long tail opportunity there as we build up our thought leadership in that channel. Investment banks is and research departments in the sense that analysts and research departments are the last activity or new group of customers that we have seen come on.
And perfect. And just to the last questions, so we're not running out of time. Looking at your cash burn rate, you will be running out of cash within 1.5 years. I know, of course, the expectation is that the revenue will grow, but any thoughts, any elaboration about your plans? Are there any thinking about maybe scaling down the cost to maybe to look at the slower revenue growth, or are you still convinced about the revenue? So a little bit elaboration about the cash burn and how many years you have to achieve it, or maybe stretching it a little bit more out to get a longer do we see run rate?
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. If we were supposed to sit at the same level as we are right now, both top line and cost base, then we would have cash for the next 1.5 years. But again, what we are seeing now in terms of growth in our pipeline and also new deals coming in, we do expect that revenue will grow. Also, I mean, not only within the next 3-4 months, but also on the long term. We, from an organization standpoint and a cost-based point of view, we are on frequent basis looking at our cost spend. We need to make sure we have the right resources in place, and we do not foresee that we need to take on any material cost to be able to, scale the business even further for the foreseeable future at least. We should be able to manage with what we have now at this point in time. So, one thing first, and we need to concentrate on executing the strategy that we have just put in place.
Perfect. I think that concludes the questions we got from the outside audience. So thank you, Dennis, Morten, and Susanne, for taking us through the presentation and the half-year result. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.